The question loomed over the NFL for the entire offseason. Could the 49ers have beaten the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC Championship game if Brock Purdy hadn't gotten injured? The Philadelphia Eagles were insulted by the question. Finally, Haason Reddick challenged the 49ers to line up and play. Well, at the end of this game, Brock Purdy would finish with 314 yards, 4 touchdown passes, a 148.8 passer rating, and the victory. Welcome to Josh's Football Breakdowns, where we don't tell you what you're seeing, we let the film tell us what we're seeing. The Eagles would start with the ball, and Jalen Hurts began the game with a strong drive. Now during the intro, you may have noticed I circled Mooney Ward, and here he is again, and the 49ers are moving him around at different points in this game to cover A.J. Brown, much like how they used him to cover DK Metcalf in the Seahawks game. They didn't do it all the time against the Eagles, but as we would see, the 49ers secondary played great in this game. But not so much on this first play. And here Brown just runs a simple slant. Now Ward is trailing, but there looks to be plenty of help to the inside. But rookie safety Jair Brown overruns the play. And to be fair, it's an easy mistake for a rookie to make. In fact, let's go back a year ago to the day yesterday, the very game where Brock Purdy came in for an injured Jimmy Garoppolo, and that game started with a similar play to Trent Sherfield, and the seasoned veteran Tashawn Gibson overran the play, resulting in a Dolphins touchdown. Well, against the Eagles, we would see a similar result. It's not a touchdown, but it is a 38-yard gain on the play, and it was one of very few mistakes that the 49ers secondary would make in this game. Later on in the drive, the Eagles would be threatening to score. But if you know anything about the history of the 49ers and the Eagles, you'll know that the 49ers have been on the right side of some key goal line stands in the past. The first time in 2001, and then again just a couple of years ago in 2021. Well, history has a way of repeating itself, so let's take a look at the 49ers' defensive approach here. They only rush with 4, and they rely on the coverage of their secondary, which was, again, outstanding all game long. Hurts has nowhere to go with the football, and eventually the pass rush forces Jalen Hurts to throw this ball away. On second down, the Eagles try a run with DeAndre Swift. Fred Warner steps up to fill the gap, so Swift decides to bounce to the outside. And here we see excellent pursuit by Tashawn Gibson. And Deommodore Lenoir gets off his block, and the two of them are able to string this play out for minimal gain. On third down, the Eagles keep it simple, trying for a one-on-one shot with A.J. Brown against Mooney Ward. And Ward defenses the pass. Mooney Ward leads the NFL with 18 pass breakups. Physical coverage, but the key here is that Ward gets his head turned around, and that was enough for the officials to let them play. We can compare this, for example, to the game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Seattle Seahawks on Thursday Night Football, where the officials called everything very tightly. But the important thing is, whichever way you call it consistently and the same way for both teams, and I thought the officials definitely did a good job of that in this game. This time Philadelphia settles for the field goal, taking a 3-0 lead, but that was an important stand by the San Francisco defense, as we'll see as this game goes on. Very early on, another key moment. When the Eagles kick off to the 49ers, it's Deebo Samuel returning the kick. Yes, Ray McCloud was injured, but this was, without a doubt, a statement by the 49ers, and Deebo breaks off a nice return here, and for the rest of the game, Philadelphia would kick this ball out of the back of the end zone. Wow. Now, if you're a 49er fan and you just want to see the good stuff, go ahead and scroll to the timestamp shown below, or use the chapter select. But I thought this opening sequence of plays by both the 49ers and the Eagles was fascinating. So if you're a diehard, let's get into it and take a thorough look at this. On the 49ers' first play of the game, we can see they have Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. A good idea. A lot has been made of the fact that the Philadelphia defense had to play over 90 plays against the Bills just 1 week earlier, while the 49ers were coming off extra rest. I thought the 49ers would do a lot of running in this game, tire that defense out by forcing them to chase. Naturally, Shanahan calls a pass. And the way the 49ers do this is, in my opinion, a little bit awkward. They motion Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield. Well, this is important because now the defense knows that this is for sure a pass play. There's no threat of the run. And they're able to set up to defend that pass. And I think the 49ers as a team hadn't quite settled into this game yet, at least not offensively. Brock Purdy apparently misses a wide open Kyle Juszczyk up top. He does have Brandon Aiyuk underneath. It is very tight coverage. Maybe the defender can make a play on this ball. But maybe the idea of this whole sequence was to get Brock Purdy some easy completions early to try to settle him in. That might have been Shanahan's thinking here. We know from experience how dangerous this Philadelphia pass rush can be, and ultimately Purdy just decides to get rid of the ball quickly. But you can already see defenders sticking their hands up, and if you can't get to the quarterback as a pass rusher, you stick your hands up because you might just block the pass, and that's exactly what happens here. It was actually Jordan Davis who did a good job of sticking up his hand and deflecting this pass, bringing up second down. And again, the 49ers motion their backs out of the backfield. The defense hangs back, and Brock Purdy has to eat this football. And the Eagles have to like how this game is starting out. They have the lead, and the 49ers are facing 3rd and long. So here, Philadelphia decides to send a blitz. They know the 49ers have a long way to go to get to that first down. They're hoping that the pressure can get home. And one of the quirks of the 49er offense is when they do motion their backs out right at the snap like that, naturally they're starting behind the line of scrimmage. Christian McCaffrey has a long way to go before he gets to that line to gain. The pressure indeed closes in on Brock Purdy, and Christian McCaffrey is just now starting his break. And we can see Brock is already winding up to throw this football. We know he throws with great anticipation, but here the ball sails out of bounds. Unclear if he was just throwing this ball away or if the ball got away from him a little bit. If I had to guess, I would probably lean towards the second option. I think this ball may have slipped out of his hand. Possible to know for sure. Either way, the 49ers would punt back to the Eagles, who look to build on their 3-0 lead. They have to pick up this third down, so here they have one of their receivers, it looks like it might be Olamide Zaccheaus, set a pick for A.J. Brown. Now, of course, we know that setting a pick is illegal. That's offensive pass interference, so he's got to act like he's running a route here, and he doesn't necessarily do a great job of the acting. In fact, the Eagles would be flagged for offensive pass interference later on in this game. Nevertheless, this play would stand, and Brown would gain 17 yards on the play. Arik Armstead actually does get some good penetration here, but thanks to the play design, Brown is open early and Hurts is able to get this ball out quickly. Later on in the drive, the Eagles would once again be threatening to score a touchdown. And again, the 49ers only rush with 4. Hurts has all day to stand back there and quarterback the offense. Nevertheless, yet again we see that the coverage in the 49ers secondary is outstanding. Hurts has nowhere to go with the football. Eventually, Javon Kinlaw is able to get through, but Hurts has given himself plenty of space. But in one of the oddities that happens to any level of athlete in any sport, Hurts slips on the field, and Kinlaw is able to come up with the sack. It's just one of those odd, unfortunate situations for Hurts, but it means that the Eagles have to settle for another field goal, so they give the ball back to San Francisco with a 6-point lead, but now the Niners have a chance to get their offense going. And this time they hand the ball off to Deebo Samuel on a run to the edge. And I love this play call. This is exactly what I thought the 49ers needed to do against what was surely going to be a tired Philadelphia defense. The Eagles penetrate and stop the play for negative yardage. So that's a bad turn of events for San Francisco, but I still love the play call. From this angle, we get a great look at why this play may have been stuffed for negative yardage. Christian Ellis is able to penetrate straight into the backfield. Why? Well, it's possible Jake Brendel may have been held on this play. Now, I can like the philosophical idea of the play call all I want to. The bottom line is it was a negative play, and the 49ers would have to punt back to Philadelphia, who would look to, yet again, extend their lead. But facing a key 3rd down and 6, watch Jalen Hurts here. You're going to see he rocks backwards. I think he forgot the snap count in his head. In addition to that, it fools the wide receiver too. Both players false start on the play, and the officials would flag them for illegal procedure. So now the Eagles would be facing a 3rd down and 11, and the 49er defense would use this to their advantage. Much like the Eagles did a few plays ago, the 49ers now know that the Eagles have to go a long way for that 1st down. And by now you can guess that they're only going to rush with 4, the defense hangs back, and once again Jalen Hurts has nowhere to go with the football. And suddenly, in a strange sort of way, now it's the 49ers who have to like their situation. 3 drives by the Eagles and only 6 points to show for it. The 49ers would take over, but they would be pinned deep, and after a penalty of their own, they would be backed up against their own goal line. And it's from here that the game begins. This is an interesting moment for the 49er offense. The defense has been playing great, essentially holding the Eagles to just 6 points on 3 drives. Very impressive. But now the offense has to answer the bell. They have to get something done here. But they're in a dangerous spot, backed up, pinned deep, facing 2nd and long. What do? Do you get conservative here and run the ball and hope for something to break and maybe just punt it away? Live to fight another day? You don't want to do that too many more times. But the thing is, the Eagles can't be too sure of what San Francisco's going to do here either. So when the 49ers put Jauan Jennings in motion, they drop a safety down. The other safety rotates back, and this essentially leaves Darius Slay one-on-one with Brandon Aiyuk. Of course, Slay doesn't know which route Brandon Aiyuk is going to run. For all he knows, he could be going deep. So he has to give him a lot of space. Brandon Aiyuk takes the space the defense left behind. And then he uses his physicality to gain just a few more yards and make this 3rd and short. And I thought that this was the throw that really got Brock Purdy and the 49er offense going. The Eagles threw some punches early, but it's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit. It was a nice play, but the 49ers still have to convert this 3rd and short to keep the drive going. And just like we saw with Jalen Hurts, this time it's Brandon Aiyuk's turn to slip on the wet turf. The second read is also taken away when the Eagles double-team Christian McCaffrey. But on the other side of the formation, they may have made a mistake, sending 2 defenders with Jauan Jennings and nobody with George Kittle. Purdy finds the 4th read on the play and gets the ball to Kittle for a first down. From this angle, we get a great look at Purdy seeing Aiyuk slip on the turf, taking a quick glance at Christian McCaffrey, and then coming across to the other side and spotting George Kittle, but he sets his feet first and delivers a strike. Alright, 1st and 10. Now we're playing football. And of course, the Eagles don't want to allow San Francisco to get into a rhythm like this, so here they decide to send a blitz. And unfortunately for the 49ers, they've sent some long developing routes down the field. It's only 3 receivers, but the Eagles are covering this well. They've sent virtually their entire secondary back with them. Well, where are the other 2 eligible receivers? The 49ers left them in to help with pass protection because the Eagles were sending a blitz. You can see Christian McCaffrey on one side, and on the other side, we see that the 49ers have found themselves in the awkward situation they were in the NFC Championship game, trying to block Hassan Reddick with a tight end, Mr. George Kittle. And Reddick is able to get by. But this is all part of the plan. Kittle chips Reddick and then heads out for a pass route, and there is nobody left to stop him. "32-yard gain on the play, and the 49ers set this play up specifically for the Eagles. They had, 2 positive plays, and then Shanahan went right to it. And it may seem like a simple play, but to me this was pretty impressive. Here Christian McCaffrey is tasked with blocking Josh Sweat, so he cut blocks him. But this will only buy you a little bit of time. Cut blocking is temporary, so Trent Williams slides over to help him. And on the other side of the field, we see George Kittle coming across. We know he's going to chip and release, but again, that's temporary. So the 49ers have pulled Aaron Banks to pick him up after the fact, and the rest of the O-linemen are going to have to win their one-on-one blocks to give Purdy time to throw this football. Even simple plays are complicated in the NFL, but in a hostile environment, the 49er players executed it to perfection. The 49ers have weathered the storm, and now they have the opportunity to take the lead. But all the receivers are covered well by the Philadelphia secondary, and this time Hassan Reddick really does win. Brock Purdy has to scramble. Purdy sheds the tackle. And then at the end of the play, instead of the tackler laying the hit on Brock Purdy, it's Brock Purdy laying the hit on the tackler. It's only a small gain, but to me this was another key statement. You're not going to bring Brock Purdy down, and if anything, he's going to bring the fight to you. Now, if I were to dare critique this play, I would encourage young Brock not to do this with his throwing shoulder. So now the 49ers have 3rd and goal at the 2. And back in the Harbaugh-Frank Gore days, they would just line up and run it with power. But here we see another creative Kyle Shanahan play design. We see Deebo Samuel come around in this orbit motion, and Christian McCaffrey also heads to that side of the field. The 49ers' 2 best running threats are both headed to their right, and the offensive line also goes in that direction. But the 49ers are going to need to clean up the backside of this play. And in my opinion, this is what really makes the play work. Jauan Jennings comes across and pretends to block before going out on a pass route. And look at Brandon Aiyuk. He's doing the same thing, pretending to pin his man to the inside before also going out for a pass route himself. It's a goal line version of the play the 49ers love to run, faking the run to one side and sneaking a receiver out to the other side. And the fake has left Brandon Aiyuk wide open. Now, Reed Blankenship has decided to sit up, but at the moment Brock Purdy was getting ready to throw, it looks like he's still running with Aiyuk. So Purdy throws this ball away from the defender. And Aiyuk makes a diving catch for the touchdown, and just like that, the 49ers put themselves in position to take the lead with the extra point. Wow. And from this angle, we get a great look at just how effective that fake was in fooling the Philadelphia Eagles. All 11 Eagles bite on the fake. And just like that, despite everything that's happened in the first quarter, it's the 49ers with the lead in this game. And they would get the ball back. And from this point on in the game, Kyle Shanahan would display an absolute masterclass in offensive play calling. The 49ers fake the handoff to Deebo Samuel, and they pull the guard, Spencer Burford. They want the Eagles to think that they're going back to that edge run with Deebo. And the linebacker bites on the fake. George Kittle takes the space the defense left behind. And once again, we see 49er players just trucking over Philadelphia Eagles. 25-yard gain on the play for Kittle. The Eagles try to match the creativity on defense with a corner blitz, but this essentially leaves Brandon Aiyuk one-on-one with the safety. Deebo Samuel runs off his man, and Brandon Aiyuk takes the space. And from here we see how thoroughly prepared the 49ers were for this game. Once again, they used George Kittle to chip Hassan Reddick before going out on a pass route, and amazingly, this play works again. But Purdy takes the bigger play to Aiyuk, and the pass is accurate, hitting Brandon between the 1 and the 1, and he secures the catch. With less than a minute to go before the end of the first half, the 49ers go deeper into the playbook. Once again, they put Christian McCaffrey in motion, but this time they use him to block Bradbury, and this frees up Jauan Jennings to block to the inside, and now they do get the ball to Deebo Samuel on the edge. There's only 41 seconds left in the first half, but the 49ers are just 2 yards away from that end zone. And they go to their most reliable runner, Christian McCaffrey, touchdown 49ers, and they go up 14-6 right at the half. And don't forget, it was the Eagles that started the game with the ball, meaning San Francisco will open up the third quarter with possession and a chance to extend their lead. Facing a 3rd down and 5, the 49ers put Christian McCaffrey in motion and Bradley Roby goes with him. And this is important because it reveals man coverage. The 49ers have called another specific play for this situation, and now they know it will probably work. With rookie corner Eli Ricks lined up in man-to-man coverage across from Jauan Jennings, the 49ers use a pick play, similar to one we looked at earlier, but this time they just have George Kittle run in a straight line, and it's a lot easier to do this convincingly when you're just running in a straight line like this. And we'll just take a quick peek at how effective that is. It's an 18-yard chunk, and the 49ers are just chewing up yards against this Eagles defense. Two plays later, the 49ers would be facing a 3rd down and 2. And right before the snap, they motion Christian McCaffrey out again. And remember when they did this before, the Eagles knew that the 49ers were going to pass, and they were able to sit up at the line to gain. McCaffrey gives his man a move to the inside, but when he cuts to the outside, Nicholas Morrow is able to undercut the route. And that's unfortunate for Nicholas Morrow because McCaffrey isn't running it out. He goes to the corner, and Brock Purdy gets a beautiful ball out to him, and it's another 33-yard chunk for the 49ers. And Brock Purdy is carving up this Philly D. And this time, Hassan Reddick decides he might as well try the center, Jake Brendel. But Brendel holds his own here. With the 49ers poised to go up 2 scores in the third quarter, Shanahan cooks them again, putting George Kittle in motion to one side and then bringing Brandon Aiyuk in motion to the same side. The defense adjusts, but Kyle Shanahan is a step ahead. When the defense moves in one direction, he brings Deebo Samuel in the other direction. Touchdown 49ers, and the Eagles just have no answer for what the 49ers are doing offensively. And here George Kittle shows off his supreme talents, blocking both Darius Slay and Kevin Byard on the same play. Hassan Reddick thought this ball was going to Elijah Mitchell. With the 49ers absolutely steamrolling the Eagles, things would take an interesting turn on Philadelphia's next possession. Now it's close, but that contact probably started inbounds. But nevertheless, San Francisco very well could have been flagged for a late hit on the quarterback there. The officials decide not to throw the flag. And here at the end of this play, again with contact starting inbounds, Dre Greenlaw uses an illegal suplex maneuver, and the officials have seen enough, and this time they do throw the flag for a personal foul. Now we can see the Eagles sideline is very upset because this is a couple of plays now where they thought San Francisco might have been too physical. And there we see Dom DeSandro, the head of Philadelphia sideline security, and he starts mixing it up with Dre Greenlaw. Cooler heads did not prevail. Greenlaw puts his finger in DeSandro's face and both would be ejected. It was a real ugly moment in this game, and one that 49er fans and Eagles fans are still talking about days later. I gotta be honest with you, this might be an unpopular opinion, but while it was a really ugly moment, I'm actually pretty impressed with how both teams handled this situation after the fact. Okay, think about what Philadelphia did after this. They didn't retaliate with further cheap shots to the 49ers. Instead, they finished off a physical drive with a physical plunge into the end zone for a touchdown, seizing the momentum the way anybody would expect any competitor to do. And then, after the game, DeSandro personally had a meeting with John Lynch, the 49ers GM, and apologized to him. For his part, Nick Sirianni also apologized in his press conference. And for the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan apologized to Nick Sirianni directly. And this is the best part of sportsmanship, when you realize you've crossed the line, you've done something wrong, but you're man enough to react to it in the right way. The moment was ugly, but I'm proud of how the teams reacted properly and didn't let the situation get out of control after the fact. Okay, let's move on with the rest of the game. The Eagles come within 8 points, making the score 21-13. This was a big momentum swing in the game, and the stadium was absolutely rocking. The best way for the 49ers to neutralize this would be to score again. So let's take a look at their approach. You may have seen George Kittle coming across in motion, and the 49ers have him lined up on the left side. Zach Cunningham for the Eagles is urgently calling for a defensive adjustment. And you can see there's nobody in front of Trent Williams, and he gets right to the second level, and Christian McCaffrey just follows him. A good idea. And it's a 16-yard gain on the play. Let's go back to the snap. Here we can see Cunningham frantically gesturing, but he's not the only one. The rest of the players are all trying to get Williams to slide over, but Williams doesn't hear the call, and there's nobody in front of Trent Williams as a result. In addition to that, the 49ers also motion Kyle Juszczyk late, and you can see that they have a total numbers advantage in terms of blocking on that side of the formation. On the next play, the 49ers motion Kyle Juszczyk again, and the defense adjusts, but it's not man coverage, it's a zone. Initially, it looks like the Eagles are okay here. They have 3 zone defenders against 3 San Francisco receivers. But the fact that they're in a zone is exactly the problem, because now San Francisco has the opportunity to run 2 players into the area of 1 defender. Kyle Shanahan is the master at this, putting zone defenders into conflict. He has to choose who to guard, he goes with Ronnie Bell, and Deebo Samuel comes wide open underneath. And then he misses the tackle, and Deebo gets north and south in the open field. It's a foot race to the end zone. Slay grabs him, but Deebo powers his way in. Touchdown 49ers, and San Francisco has just stolen this momentum right back. Wow. Dart, missed tackle, and that's all she wrote. Possible hold on Ronnie Bell there. Not one official's within 20 yards of him. It's hard to see, and it's not super obvious, so they don't make the call. Either way, you got to get Deebo down on that initial tackle. 49ers go up 28-13 late in the game. Back on defense, the 49ers once again display excellent coverage in the secondary, but what I really want you to watch on this play is the spin move of Nick Bosa. And the pressure forces the incomplete pass, bringing up 3rd down and 8. Trying to pick up this 3rd down, we can see Jalen Hurts in the pocket is getting ready to take off and run with the football. Now, this isn't a designed run. He simply sees an opportunity and he's going for it. Now, how do I know this? Well, none of the receivers are blocking downfield. They're all running routes. Hurts has a long way to go, and we can see why this probably wasn't a called run. But he definitely has the talent to make this happen and the recognition to know when he has that ability. But in this case, we can see a small problem. Mr. Fred Warner is lurking right at the line to gain. It's the best running quarterback in the NFL against the best linebacker in the NFL, mano a mano. And he stopped 2 yards short. The Eagles make the difficult decision to punt back to the 49ers, who cannot be stopped on offense. And I thought this was Philadelphia's truly their last chance in this game. Oren Burks also with the assist there. And we got to give a huge shout out to Steve Wilks for an excellent game plan, keeping Hurts contained in the pocket, spying on him with Fred Warner, and relying on excellent coverage in the secondary. And all those things sound simple, but the players executed it and made it happen. Very impressive. On offense, Christian McCaffrey continued to dazzle on the ground. Alright, we're in the fourth quarter now, and the 49ers are up by 15 points, so any score here makes this a 3-score game. But they are facing a key 3rd down and 9. Perhaps sensing the urgency of the situation, the Eagles send a blitz. And the pressure looks like it's closing in on Brock Purdy, but 49er fans have become accustomed to seeing Purdy wind up to throw this football before the receiver, Jauan Jennings, even makes his break. The Eagles can't afford to let up now. They send another 6-man pressure, and the 49ers send all 5 eligible receivers into the pattern, meaning this is a 0 blitz, no safety help, so Philadelphia can't really afford to drop somebody down to pick up Christian McCaffrey underneath. But the trick is Brock Purdy has to get him this football. And in one of the biggest games of his career, Brock Purdy continues to show that he is a playmaker. Accurate pass on the run, and McCaffrey taps the toes. Very impressive. You can see that the 49ers have already moved into field goal range. Philadelphia can't afford to give up any points here. They can't go down 3 scores in the fourth quarter, so they go all out with a 7-man blitz. Once again, a 0 blitz, and Jauan Jennings simply runs away from the defense. And Jennings just has his way with this tired Eagles defense, and the route is on. And against the blitz in this game, Brock Purdy was 10 for 10 for 213 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a perfect 158.3 quarterback rating. That was also a 3rd down, and on 3rd downs in this game, Purdy was 8 for 10 for 105 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a rating of 150.0. Jauan Jennings, Brandon Aiyuk, Deebo Samuel, and Christian McCaffrey all scored in this game. Now we can see the Eagles are moving the ball downfield, but they have taken a lot of time off the clock. There's only about 5 minutes left to go in the game here. Nick Bosa wins, and Fred Warner sees it and tries to step up before Hurts can scramble to safety. But Jalen Hurts once again shows what a special player he is. He makes something out of nothing, and the Eagles score a touchdown late. On the 2-point conversion attempt, Fred Warner just misses out on an interception, but the result is the same either way. It's an unsuccessful try. With the 49ers up 16 points with 5 minutes to go, the game is reasonably secure, but it's still 2 scores, so Shanahan hits him with one more play that he's been saving. This looks like a screen pass to Christian McCaffrey. In fact, the screen is actually going to the other side of the field. Here's the blocking, and you can see it's a tunnel screen to Deebo Samuel. And Philadelphia is just in no position to contest this, and Deebo Samuel caps off the night with a 48-yard touchdown reception. Deebo talked a lot of trash before this game, and it's really hard to back that up when everybody is gunning for you. But he did, and Nick Bosa said that's the definition of greatness. And check out Brock Purdy. Here he quick counts the defense. He no longer has the crowd noise to worry about, and he hits them when they least suspect it. With a 42-19 blowout, the 49ers have emphatically answered the questions that have been looming over them all offseason. But I would be remiss if I didn't show you guys at least one last play. Diamador Lenore ends the game with a bang, and one last interesting thing, Jordan Mason gets a couple of carries at the end of the game here. He hasn't seen the field in weeks, and he was on the injury report this week, so I thought that was interesting. But that'll do it for Josh's football breakdowns. The 49ers established themselves as the best team in the NFL. Brock Purdy is now the front runner for the Most Valuable Player award. Don't take my word for it. Take the Vegas odds makers' words for it. They probably know best, right? And now the 49ers have a big game against the Seattle Seahawks to maintain their playoff positioning. The Eagles have a tough game against Dallas, so San Francisco has the opportunity to move into the number 1 seed. The NFL season has hit its most critical point these last few weeks, which will determine the road to the Super Bowl. Folks, I want to thank all of you who have taken the time to subscribe to this channel. If you like these kinds of videos, please subscribe. We do this every single week, and I really value your input. Leave me a comment. I read every comment, and I'm always impressed with your football knowledge and ideas that you guys bring to the table. Things I don't see or corrections, anything at all you want to talk about, and there is a big community that will engage with you. It's very cool. And I got to take an extra minute here to really thank those who have gone the extra mile to help support this channel. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I could not do this without you guys. It allows me to take the time to give you the quality that you deserve. It truly does make a difference. I very sincerely appreciate it. Every single week, you humble me and you honor me. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really, really mean it. All right. Next week, 49ers and Seahawks, a rivalry that's maybe gone a little bit cold. Seattle had our number for years and years, and now we have Seattle's number. If we win on Sunday, it will be the 5th in a row against the Seattle Seahawks, a team Brock Purdy has never lost to. And I don't know what's going to happen in that game, but you know we will be here to break down that film, and I will see you guys then.